better crop yields. Students, in the earlier classes, you have studied that some crops are cultivated in the rainy season and some in the winter season. Cereals like rice, wheat, jowar, etc., pulses like gram, black gram, etc., oilseeds like groundnut, mustard, etc., other fruits, vegetables and spices are grown extensively across the country. Apart from these crops, fodder crops like Sudan grass, Rhodes grass, barseem, etc. are raised as fodder for the livestock. The plants of the same variety grown at a place at the same time on a large scale are referred to as crop. Different crops require different climatic conditions, soil types, period of exposure to sunlight, etc. Some of the crops are season-specific, that is, they are grown in a particular season. Cultivation includes several activities carried out by the farmers. These activities spread over a period of time. The yield of crops can be improved by adopting some modern techniques of farming. It can be achieved by using better variety of seeds, taking better care of the crop plants, and protecting crops before and after harvesting. Using better variety of seeds. In recent times, better crops are grown using hybrid seeds. Hybridization is a technique of crossbreeding two different varieties of crop plants, each having the desired characteristic to obtain a new variety having a combination of the desired characteristics. Most crops so developed have higher yields, better quality, better resistance to diseases and pests, short period of maturation, etc. Such varieties of crops are termed as high-yielding varieties or HYV. The greatest advantage of HYV is the higher yield. Therefore, more and more farmers are switching over to the HYV of crops. Hybrid varieties of rice and wheat are available in the market under the names Jaya, T141 for rice, and Sonalika, Arjun, Sonara 64 for wheat, and many more. Now, let us see how we can take good care of our crops. Taking better care of the crop plants. The yield of the crop depends on the nutrients added to the soil, the method of irrigation, and the cropping pattern. Nutrients. Just as we require various minerals for our healthy growth, plants too require certain minerals for their proper growth. These are known as nutrients. Plants need nearly 16 different elements as nutrients. Some of these elements are required by them in large amounts and are called macronutrients. Others are required in very small amounts or trace amounts. They are known as micronutrients. Macronutrients are carbon, nitrogen, calcium, hydrogen, oxygen, sulfur, phosphorus, magnesium, and potassium. Micronutrients are iron, zinc, chlorine, manganese, boron, copper, and molybdenum. Repeated cultivation of crops decreases the primary nutrients present in the soil. In order to make up for the deficiency of nutrients in the soil, it has to be enriched. So, the required nutrients are supplied to the soil in the form of manures and fertilizers. Let us learn more about manures and fertilizers. Manure. Manure is a product obtained by the decomposition of organic matter like cow dung, human wastes, and plant residues, which replenishes the soil with essential elements and adds humus to the soil. This enhances the fertility of the soil. Fertilizers. A chemical fertilizer is a compound containing the primary plant nutrients, namely nitrogen, potassium and phosphorus, which makes the soil more fertile and enhances the growth of plants. Fertilizers can be of three main types: nitrogenous, phosphatic and potassic. Examples of nitrogenous fertilizers are ammonium sulfate, urea and ammonium nitrate. Example of phosphatic fertilizers are superphosphate, ammonium phosphate and ammophos. Examples of potassic fertilizers are potassium chloride, potassium sulfate and potassium nitrate. In order to maintain or improve the fertility of the soil, chemical fertilizers are supplied in proper doses before and during the cultivation of each crop. These chemicals are soluble in water and are readily absorbed by the plants. A chemical fertilizer is compact and concentrated, hence it is easy to handle. Continuous use of chemical fertilizers can turn the soil infertile. It reduces the organic matter content of the soil and can also cause harm to the natural microbial flora of the soil. Organic farming is now being advocated to address this issue. It is a farming system with minimal or no use of chemicals as fertilizers, pesticides, etc. The system uses organic manures, recycled farm wastes, and biological agents to enhance the fertility of the soil and for pest control. Irrigation. Agriculture in India is mostly dependent on the monsoons. Since the rains in our country are not consistent, the crop yields also fluctuate accordingly. In order to overcome this problem of uncertain rains, some alternative sources of water for irrigation are essential. Thus, the method of supplying water to crops through canals, wells, reservoirs, tube wells, etc. is known as irrigation. Cropping patterns. A variety of patterns are adopted for growing crops. It results in providing maximum benefits. Mixed cropping or multiple cropping. Mixed cropping or multiple cropping is a method of growing two or more crops simultaneously on the same piece of land. The two crops are selected in such a way that they support each other's growth. This cropping technique leads to an improvement in the fertility of the soil. Wheat is grown along with tur. Intercropping is a method of growing crops wherein two or more crops are grown simultaneously on the same piece of land in a particular pattern. For example, soya bean, maize and tur, etc. are selected to be grown on the same field. Crop rotation. Crop rotation is a method of growing different crops on the same piece of land alternately. In this method, legumes like pulses, peas, beans, etc. are grown in between the seasons of cereal crops like wheat, paddy, maize, etc. It helps in maintaining and improving the fertility of the soil.